bird legs, the big noses and the weird eyes, and also a weird ability to make it all function into like a cohesive world. I just love Miyazaki films and the subtle beauty within them.
皆の衆、こんにちは。忍者と申す。そしてお主らに質問がござる。君たちはどう生きるかという映画を見たことがござる。ところで、英語版のタイトルは The Boy and the Heron だけど、とにかく最近友人と共に映画館に見に参ったぞ。ちょっとアメリカ人たちの感想を聞いてくれぬか。とくとご覧あれ。
Alright, so what did you think of the movie, The Boy and the Heron?
I mean, I really enjoyed it. Thought it was a really good movie. I've seen a few other Miyazaki films in the past, and so I'm always excited to see one.
I thought it was really good. I thought it was very moving, kind of strange at some parts, but that's kind of what I was expecting from a Studio Ghibli movie. It was very intriguing, you didn't really fully understand what was going on until the very end. The way everything came together at the end, I thought was very moving. I'd give the movie probably an 8 out of 10.
It was not really what I was expecting. I heard reviews of it, and I knew it was maybe a movie that you'd have to see it twice. It was kind of weird. The story was kind of confusing at points to where I didn't really know where it was heading or where it was going. But overall, I think I liked it, if that makes sense.
こんにちはじゃ。ちっとこの表現を説明させてもらうな。この If that makes sense はここで訳した通りだいたい伝わったかないや分かってもらったかなという意味じゃが、自分の説明や申したことをちっと疑うときによう使われているのじゃ。例えばこの場合、この人は自分の気持ちをうまく伝えたかどうかわからんゆえに、最後に If that makes sense つまり伝わったかなと言った。では、ドロン。
Yeah. Have you seen a lot of other Ghibli movies?
Yes, I've seen most of the big ones. I've seen Spirited Away, Kiki's Delivery Service, Castle in the Sky I really liked, Nausicaa, Princess. What was the princess one?
Mononoke?
Yeah, Mononoke.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of them. I really like Studio Ghibli, so.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite out of the other ones?
My favorite's probably Spirited Away, which is I think a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite. Although I might say this one might be my new favorite. I want some time to digest. But do you think this one could possibly become the new favorite?
I think so. It's just been so long since he made a movie. So I feel like I'd have to watch it again and kind of take in what he was trying to get across,
Yeah.
The movie kind of just abruptly ended, I felt like.
Yeah.
It ended very quickly after the conclusion of the plot, yeah.
I thought that this one was more thought-provoking than some of the other ones. I really like, for example, Howl's Moving Castle, but I don't find that one to be thought-provoking, really. But this one, I feel like I want to see it a second time. I'm trying to figure out the message it was trying to send, but definitely really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I would say it's right up there with Ponyo and Spirited Away. I wasn't a huge fan of Totoro. They're all kind of weird, but I thought that one was a little too weird.
Do you find anything that distinguishes Ghibli movies or anime in general, visually or story-wise, or just anything that you feel sets them apart or makes them unique?
The character dynamics are particularly unique. And especially in comparison to American movies, there's less of an emphasis on fighting. In the Studio Ghibli movies, there's a lot of scenes where you're expecting a fight's gonna break out and then there isn't an actual fight. If it were an American movie, it probably would have broke out into a fight, but in this movie it's it kind of goes in a different direction. So it's very interesting how all of the character dynamics play out like that.
Bird legs, the big noses and the weird eyes, and also a weird ability to make it all function into a cohesive world. I just love Miyazaki films and the subtle beauty within them.
Well, first of all, anime I think is definitely different than Western films for sure. But specifically Studio Ghibli, Miyazaki has a way of bringing you into a world of fantasy that's like so, I don't know. Studio Ghibli movies are definitely, they should like deserve their own like, subgenre, I would say, of,
Yeah.
like animation.
Yeah.
So,
邪魔してしまってすみませんが、もしこの動画が面白かったり役に立ったりしたら、チャンネル登録していただけると助かります。500人の登録者を目指してるぞ。もし達成したら何か特別な動画を作るね。では続けましょう。
The Japanese title is Kimi tachi wa dou ikiru ka, which basically translates to How do you live? The you being plural. So it's like, how do you all live? What do you think of that?
Well, that's really interesting because the movie is kind of about like creating your own world, creating your own life. Like you don't really get that until towards the end, but like you have all of these humans in this like some sort of interdimensional realm. They have an alternate life over here and they've made themselves comfortable and they like know their place. But there's still something about their former life that they feel a pull back to. So I would say it fits very thematically with the movie. Like how do you live? It's kind of a question of like, are you living the way you ought to be living? Are you living the way you want to be living? And like, what is your higher purpose?
I do think that the movie sort of showcased how important it is to sort of figure out what you value and care about and to not let past traumas take over your life. I don't know if that's what the movie was trying to say, but I feel like that is a message that you can take away from seeing that movie. And sometimes we have to journey inward to resolve things before we go back out into the world, and I feel like that's one interpretation of it.
I think that explains it quite well. Like, he's kind of coping with the loss of his mother. And he wasn't really coping very well. You know, how do you live with the loss of someone that close to you?
Yeah.
You know, and I think his journey kind of brought him into coping with it in a way. I don't know if this is like a spoiler.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah. Like him meeting his mother as a small girl and his aunt, who's now his like new mother, so to speak. By the end of the movie, him hugging his mother goodbye to go to live the rest of her life and, you know, eventually have him and stuff, but then perish in the fire. He was calling his aunt now mother.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of showed like him coping with it and accepting that she's gone.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any other closing thoughts or anything else you want to share about the movie or any other Miyazaki films?
It was a really good movie. I always look forward to anything Studio Ghibli, Miyazaki more specifically, and I would definitely highly recommend this to any friends.
Awesome, thank you.
I thought this movie and a lot of the Ghibli movies in general, they emphasize like family connections really well, particularly parents and children to parents. And it's always very like heartwarming the way they tie that together.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ghibli movies are great. If you haven't seen them, I would highly recommend watching them. And you should definitely see this movie because it's definitely worth it, even if I was kind of confused. Because I kind of want to see it again. So.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
よし、そのインタビューはどう思いましたか？そして君たちはどう生きるか？君たちはどう思うか？セッションはとても好きだった。この映画から取り上げたメッセージは困難や悲劇やトラウマに負けずに前を向いて進んで生きるとのことです。ぜひコメントでお主らの思いも聞かせてくだされな。では、I'm going to go contemplate on how to live. じゃあまたね。